This is the only Acuity scheduling video you need to get started. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up your appointment types, availability, and your scheduling page so clients can start booking with you right away. Now, when first logging into your Acuity scheduling software, it may seem a little intimidating. There are an awful lot of options here on the left-hand side, but we really only need to pay attention to three key areas: our appointment types, our availability, and the scheduling page itself. So let's get started with our appointment types. This is really the core of any booking software. Here is where we can determine and create as many different types of appointments or services that you want your clients to book for you. Now, within the appointment types menu, you have two options: create a new type of service or create a new group class. If you are wanting to offer a class where multiple people sign up for the same session, this would be the option for you. So for example, if you are a yoga studio and you want to allow a maximum of 10 people to book a class at the exact same time, you would create a class. But for today's example, we are going to stick with services, most likely a one-on-one engagement. By selecting new type of service, we just need to simply provide a few simple details. So in my example, I'm going to call this my Healthy Habits Reset, and I'm going to give it a brief description. A description is optional, of course, but it may help your clients determine which service or which appointment type is right for them. Then down below, we have the option to add an image. This can be great if you want to emphasize that this is an in-person engagement, whether this is a phone call or a video conferencing, or if this is going to be something very different from the other services that you provide as well. In my example, I'm going to forego adding an image, but you can add it here if you desire. Now, the length of time is one of the most important things that you want to consider. And in this case, I'm going to say that this is a 90-minute session. Of course, this is important because this is going to block off that amount of time on our booking calendar and make sure that we don't double book ourselves, or if we are setting this up for a team, that we are allocating that time appropriately. Now, Acuity Scheduling also gives us the opportunity to add pricing. Now, you can add pricing without adding a payment method if you desire. You can tell people up front how much this session is going to cost if there is a fee involved. Just because you've added a price does not mean that you have to accept payment, but Acuity does allow you to set up a payment provider if you wish. If we leave this as 0, it will not display any pricing. So don't worry, these dollar signs and these zeros will not be displayed, but you can add this if you wish. And then down below, we want to make a few other important decisions. Number one, do we want to block off time before or after an appointment? This can be really helpful if you are scheduling discovery calls or any type of event where you think it may go a little longer than just the time that you set. So you can add a buffer time both before that appointment, but also after that appointment. So if you want to make sure that your next appointment is not booked immediately after, you may want to add 10 or 15 minutes here. And if you always want to make sure that you give yourself a little bit of extra time, maybe to prepare or review your notes in advance, you may want to add a few minutes before that time as well. Remember, that is going to be tied to your appointment type. This is where you'll find that setting. Then under the calendars menu, we need to join or identify this appointment type with a particular calendar. Now we're going to jump into the calendar section in just a moment. It is often going to be tied to an individual. So in my case, they are going to be booking time with me, but this could also represent a room, It could represent a facility. A calendar can represent other things as well. The color is also associated here within this calendar screen, not the color of the calendar, but the color of the appointment type. So if I want this to stand out from my other appointment types, I'm going to identify this as a blue shade, and I'll show you in a moment where you will see that when we view the rest of our appointment types. Now, these other settings are not mandatory. For example, categories. You don't need to group your appointment types within categories, but if you have a large number of appointments, you may wish to. If you do not want to make this available to the public, meaning you're not intending to share this scheduling link with others, we could check this toggle as well. But in most cases, that's the whole purpose of Acuity Scheduling, is you want to include this on your website or send it via an email so people can book time with you on your own. Rooms and resources are only going to be applicable to some service-based businesses. Since I'm using health and wellness as my example, we could look at massage therapy as a great example. Maybe your facility has 3 rooms, 3 available rooms to book a massage. This is where you would manage those rooms and resources. And then last but not least, we have a few additional options. The one that you'll want to pay most special attention to is if you want to include a custom message after they have scheduled. You could include a link back to your website or to a particular form if you'd like to, or just a simple thank you. Once we're done with our appointment, we can come up here and select Create, and that will be added to our list of appointment types. And here on the left-hand side is where we can see those colors appear. So they just stand out a little more distinct. We will always see the title of the appointment type followed by the duration that you have set. So in my example, once again, I have a 30-minute specific session, I've got a 1-hour session, and I've got a 90-minute session here as well. So now that we've set up a few appointment types, let's come back to our main menu, and next we want to click on Availability. Now, although Availability is the title of this menu, here you can see at the top of the screen, our calendars is really what this is all about. On this screen, we are going to determine the appointment types and when we are available for those specific appointment types. If I come over here and just minimize this area, you can see I just have one calendar. It's my calendar. I'm going to set the availability for myself. In most cases, these calendars will represent other members of your team. But in our example, we're just going to stick with the single calendar. By expanding this view, here we can see the different appointment types, and then on the right-hand side of the screen is where we can edit our availability. Now, in most cases, you are going to want to set up a regular schedule of your availability hours. You may have distinct hours that change from week to week. If that is the case, and they are very, very different, you can uncheck this box and simply edit the dates one by one. But in most cases, you will probably have some type of regular schedule, either that you work or that you want to be made available for these types of bookings. So here you can see we have a weekly calendar available to us here, and I already have some times designated. Now, Acuity makes it very simple for us to edit. So for example, let's say that I am no longer available on Wednesdays. If I click on Wednesdays, all I need to do is come in here and delete the times that are listed there. You can see that now it says that it is closed. But although I am no longer available on Wednesdays, I want to change my hours on Thursdays. And instead of selecting from a drop-down menu or a scroll wheel, Acuity does make it very simple for us. We can simply just type things in naturally. So I'm going to say I'm available from 12 p.m., but a little later in the afternoon, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Make sure once you've adjusted your regular weekly hours that you hit this button, and then down below, you can see that our live calendar or our calendar going out into the future will be updated appropriately. Here you can see I am no longer available on Wednesdays, and my hours have been updated here on Thursdays as well. But this monthly or live view calendar is also important for another reason. Here is where you will want to override specific days. So for example, let's say that I'm going on vacation in late July, and I am no longer available here on this Thursday. I don't want to mess or edit my regular weekly hours, so I'm going to come down here to Thursday. I'm going to click on it, and I'm just going to simply delete those hours and then set hours. You can see that it has not changed my Thursday the week before, and if we go out into August, it hasn't changed that as well, but it has changed that one particular day. So if you're needing to make one-off changes, do it down below here, but up above is where we can set our regular weekly hours. You'll also notice that there's a sub-menu that we don't want to ignore as well, and that's calendar scheduling limits. I'm going to click on that, and we have a few other important options for us to consider. First off is do not allow clients to schedule fewer than hours in advance and more than days in the future. What this means is how quickly can someone book time with you? If we set this to 0, it means that someone could book a time with us in the next 15 minutes. Well, you need to ask yourself, are you going to be prepared or even be notified of that meeting in advance? So in most cases, you're going to want to set this to at least a few hours so that if someone gets your scheduling link at 12 noon, the earliest they can book you is maybe 3 in the afternoon or maybe the following morning. So I'm going to leave mine as 18 hours in advance. And then down below, you often don't want to allow people to book indefinitely into the future. The further out someone books time with you, the most likely they are bound to forget it or no longer need your services at that time. So in my case, I'm actually going to reduce this down to 21 days, meaning that if they get my scheduling link today, the furthest they can book me out is 3 weeks from today. On the right-hand side, we have an option here, do not allow clients to cancel or reschedule appointments less than a certain number of hours. Of course, time is money with your service-based business, so you want to make sure that you give your clients some flexibility to cancel or reschedule, but probably not too close to the actual meeting time. So you can adjust this for your needs. And then down below, we have 2 other options to consider. The first is appointments per time slot. Now, this is an interesting one. In almost all cases, you're going to want to leave this to 1. But if we increase this number to anything above 1, it means that appointments can be double booked, meaning that 2 different clients could book this appointment at the exact same time. There are not many good use cases for this, so I would recommend that you leave this at 1. And then over here on the right-hand side, we have a few options in terms of setting a maximum appointment limit. The first option is to accept appointments until fully booked. This would be sort of the default setting when you are setting up your calendar. You're wanting to book as much time as possible. But depending on your needs, you can choose to set a maximum hours per day or a maximum number of appointments per day. So in this case, I've said I only want to allow 2 of these to be booked at a maximum per day, and then it will no longer show that as an available option to new clients or new visitors to my booking screen. Again, you can adjust these to your liking. The default is to accept as many appointments until you are fully booked. Make special attention down below to hit the Save Limits button before moving away from this calendar scheduling limits page. Now, the last thing for you to consider on this screen is what if you want a different set of availability for a different appointment time? In our example here, all of our appointments are available within these hours. They have the exact same settings and scheduling limits. But what what if I only want to allow my discovery calls on one day of the week? In order to do that, we want to come down to the very bottom and select Set Different Hours for Certain Appointment Types. And by selecting that option here, I can choose which appointment types I want. I'm going to save those appointment types, and we are brought back to essentially the exact same menu. So in this case, I am actually going to change things. I'm going to delete the hours on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, but I am going to make myself available on the Wednesday. So on Wednesday, essentially the entire day, I'm going to reserve for those discovery call hours. I'm going to hit save regular hours. I can change my calendar scheduling limits here as well. So if I need to change the advance or days in the future, I'm just going to leave it as is. And then I can close this screen. Now you can see within this calendars page, we have two different groups. Group 1 includes these two appointment types, and then group 2 includes my wellness discovery call. Last but not least, let's talk about the scheduling page, what your clients are actually going to see and what they are actually going to experience. So from the main screen, we want to select scheduling page, and this is going to give us a preview of what our clients may see. Now, yes, you can send them a direct link to these individual appointments if you want, but in many cases, you want to give them the option or send them to a standard scheduling or appointment screen. On the left-hand side of the screen, we want to come over here and select settings. And within the settings menu, there are a few key things we want to determine. On the right-hand side, we have a nice preview. So as we are making certain changes, we can see what that will look like. And this is actually a functioning preview. So if I select that book button and then select a time, it's going to show me exactly what it's going to look like or appear. So one of the first decisions you're going to want to make is what it looks like when they actually get to that booking screen. So for example, I'm going to expand this preview. I'm going to select the wellness discovery call. And here you can see I am presented with this mini calendar on the left-hand side, so I can select the dates available. Remember, we set this to only Wednesdays, so we're seeing the next two Wednesdays. And then on the right-hand side, they can select a time. But if we close this preview, you can see we also have another option, a daily view. With this option selected, they will no longer see the mini monthly calendar. They will only see the next available dates at the top of the screen. So here you can see all of them are Wednesdays listed at the top of the screen, and then they can immediately go and select the time that is best for them. This really comes down to your preference and what you think is easier for your clients. For some, this may be confusing because they may just naturally think that these are the next days in the week and not just your next available days. So you can make that change here as to how the look and feel is for your end users. I personally prefer this monthly view the best. I just think it's an easier user experience. Down below, you can change the name of your business. So this is going to be presented in a few different places, including confirmations and the emails that they receive. Down below is where you can upload or change your logo so it matches your branding and matches other things that you have with your website, and they can feel confident that you're on your legitimate or authorized booking screen. And then down below, you can add some helpful text if you want to describe your services or give them a brief welcome message. Now, while there are an awful lot of settings here, and we are not going to go through each and every one, I do want to highlight a particular one: hide add another time. Now, when starting out with Acuity Scheduling, this will be unchecked by default. What does this mean? Well, coming over here to our preview, if I select this time, instead of advancing me to the confirmation screen, it's going to give me three options: select and continue, select and add another time, select and make recurring. Now, in my experience, there's only a few types of services or businesses where you would want to allow your clients to add another time or make it recurring at the same booking time. So I find this is often confusing. Even if people want to book another time with you, sometimes it can be easier for them to go through the process one more time. So if you don't want people to see this option and to add additional times at the same time, come over here and check Hide Add Another Time. Now, when I select this time, it's going to send me directly to the screen where they will input their information and they can confirm their appointment. Last but not least, once you have set up and made all of the changes necessary, here within the scheduling page, we want to come down to Link. Here is where you will find your unique link, which you can share with your clients, or you can share within your website, within your emails, so that people can immediately access your booking screen and start to book time with you. Now, if you have any further questions about setting up your Acuity scheduling page, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And if you'd like to work with me directly so you can optimize your Acuity scheduling page, you can visit me at Simpletivity.com. Click the link in the description for more details. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, you deserve to work without feeling overwhelmed.